Hey guys, Tower Climber here, and today I want to bring you guys another Tower God versus battle, but this one is a bit different from all the others that I've done so far, as this is not a battle of might, but instead a battle of intelligence between two of the smartest characters that we know of in the entire series, and that being Khun Aguero Agnis versus Shibisu. These two characters have not only been compared by other characters in the story, but by the author SIU himself in terms of their intelligence. They have very consistently been able to outsmart not only people who dwarf them in both power and experience by literally hundreds of years like many rankers, as both Khun and Shibisu are only 28 and 37 currently in the story, and they have even gotten the upper hand on each other many times as well. So without further ado, let's get this started. Firstly, let's try to get this one out of the way. No matter who wins this, it doesn't really take away anything from the other at all. Both are geniuses and should be respected as such by the fandom at large. But now, to look at this battle of the minds, I will be breaking it down into 14 basic categories that will help us determine an overall winner, as putting a general number on IQ is a little harder to do than with just pure power, in my opinion, as intelligence really takes the form of a lot of different concepts. These categories will be general intelligence, battle intelligence, emotional intelligence, manipulation, social intelligence, deception, deduction, logical reasoning, overall reasoning, long-term planning, short-term planning, intel, observation, and strategy. Take into account that I will be doing some of these categories in pairs, since it will make the rest of the discussion go more smoothly, and some of these categories go hand in hand together, so I don't want to repeat myself in any similar topics or points. But getting all that out the way, first let's do general intelligence. This category is more for who is more well versed in the aspects of having a higher numbered IQ in an academic sense, and with all that being said, I believe this point should go to Shibisu in my opinion. He is the one generally seen as the smarter of the two by the author SIU when the discussion of comparing the two comes up. He normally says something along the lines that Shibisu is the more book smart of the two, so I will be giving Shibisu this point in general IQ. In contrast to that point, the next is battle IQ. Who is smarter in high stakes situations that are in combat scenarios? This point should clearly go to Khun, as he is a well trained fighter who is able to go head to head with extremely skilled people like Hots in battle with an inferior weapon, and not only that, but also hold his own and be considered his equal. Now of course, did Khun have advantages during that fight, like being part of the 10 great families and having the aid of his lighthouses by his side? Of course, sure, but those are parts of his character, so taking them away from Khun is kind of weird to do, because at that point it wouldn't really be Khun anymore. But also to make the point, Shibisu is never shown to be as skilled as somebody like Hots or Khun in any way, shape or form. Even if you were to give Shibisu something like a family member boost like Khun had, I still believe that Khun would be the more skilled fighter in the end of the day. Now going into the categories of emotional intelligence and social intelligence, these points should really go to Shibisu in all honesty. Look, Khun has had teams in the past, but unlike Shibisu, Khun has never really linked with his teammates. Khun is a character with not only a lot of walls up, but also with a very straight way of looking at things with logic, then standard human reasoning, which is something that I will be talking about in later categories. But Shibisu is definitely more of the what you see is what you get, which not only lets him connect with people easier, but lets him have a deeper connection with his friends and teammates. All the interactions we have seen of Team Shibisu, we see there is always a big personality and level of comfort that his teammates have with him, but that in turn also lets them respect him and follow him when the serious moments come. Khun's team always feels a little bit disconnected from him. He is the boss and his teammates are the workers. I'm not saying that Khun's team doesn't have fun interactions, but those never came with Khun involved, unlike Shibisu. And I am also not for a second saying that Khun is an unfeeling robot, as he is definitely not. A great example of him having better emotional IQ than Shibisu is during the Name Hunt station, where he didn't want Bomb to become Viol anymore, since Bomb didn't want to be either, and worked so hard to try to leave the name behind when he left Fug. Shibisu later on does realize his error in this way, and probably did all along, but he was also doing the better choice as a leader to save Endorsi's life, while Khun kinda didn't care about that as much. But still, it is a good point to bring up, and I think it just highlights the overall point I'm trying to paint, as Shibisu is better at doing this emotional IQ thing with multiple people or his whole team, while Khun's biggest moments of this is when it involves bomb generally. And while Shibisu got the other category, I will say that manipulation and deception come pretty easily to our main boy Khun, as even SIU says this is more of Khun's alley in terms of smarts. But in this case, we're not just taking SIU's word for it. We have seen this in many moments in the series, like Khun tricking Quant, and then right after this tricking all his teammates, including Shibisu, that they lost the game fairly. But he really tricked everyone to give Bomb a chance at climbing the tower. We also see this very clearly in his first interaction with Dan, when he's trying to get him to join his team, telling him that he lied to him about hiring all the regulars there, but in reality he actually did, and he just said that so Dan would drop his guard and get caught. And Khun is able to even hide his true intentions so well that he can convince people that he is working with that he is planning to shoot them, even if he truly has no intention to and just needs them to scream to get other people's attention to lure them into a trap. Overall, Khun is just amazing at getting people to move in the way he wants to, and this has been shown many times throughout the entire story. The next points being deduction and observation should clearly go to Shibisu. His entire position in the tower, being a scout, literally makes him have to be deductive and oversee events and actions around him. This point is also aided with the fact that Shibisu has observers that can look around a wide area to gather information much faster than any other people, even a light bearer like Khun, since generally light bearers get their information from scouts more time than not. But we also see this very clearly in the Battle of the Nest, when Shibisu was able to find out where Lafab was hiding and relay this information to the rest of the squad. In this moment, he not only noticed where the bullet came from, but also that the location was moved via Shinsu and had to do all the calculations in a fraction of a second to correctly guess where Lafab's new position was, something that Hogney and Evankel praised to be incredible. Next up, I'm going to do these two categories together, kind of. Logical reasoning should go to Khun, while overall reasoning should go to Shibisu. Khun as a person is way more task focused than people like Bomb and Shibisu. He even knows this about himself, as he is the one that chooses to take care of Rachel, since he knows he is the more cold-hearted one out of the two. I mean, Khun in the story literally got a heartache at the act of doing a good thing when it didn't benefit his team during the dollar show. And the most recent example to compare Khun and Shibisu's mindsets in this category is during the Deng Deng trade. Khun just wanted to go with the basic plan that Caracas set up, while Shibisu understood Bomb's point of view and wanted to come up with a way to help him out. Overall, I would say Shibisu has a way better overall reasoning, since it's easy for him to add that connection element to problems while Khun struggles to do so. Next, long-term planning and strategy goes to Khun, as he has shown way better plots and schemes that I have mentioned before, but the most insane one I think we see in the entire story is during the Battle of the Nest, where he is able to, with his wit alone, kill a high ranker that is a branch leader of the Lopobia family and is currently fused with an extremely powerful creature known as the Windbird, making him basically immortal in the battlefield, as he couldn't be traditionally harmed. Khun was able to come up with a plan to connect his lighthouses to a warp device that teleported Lafav's high-powered bullet that could kill high rankers, and use that bullet to kill the Windbird and make the Slayer White whole again. I say this is one of Khun's most insane feats in terms of strategy, because all in one move, Khun not only managed to take out one of the most fearsome enemies on the battlefield, but also gained an even more fearsome ally, all with one ploy alone. In contrast to the other point, short-term planning I actually think goes to Shibisu, as he has shown to be able to outsmart Khun in spur-of-the-moment situations, like during the name hunt station, with him not only being able to lure out Kaiser out with the name Jovial Grace, but also in the escalator scene that Shibisu ended up saving all of them from getting blown up. And if you think about it, if it wasn't a trap set up for them by Elaine that Shibisu knew about and decided to help them out with, then he could have cut off their only route to Kaiser and made his team the ones to face Kaiser in the end. And a little side note that I realized while rereading those chapters is that he was also smart enough to use a Shinsu bomb, since Shinsu bombs couldn't actually be reverse flow controlled, so Bomb wasn't able to freeze it. And of course, Shibisu's other great moment of being able to plan a perfect counter to Bomb was during the work workshop battle with Verity Shinsu sucking octopus ring that made Bomb have to fight Amigo Chas with only his physical strength alone. This plan only failing since Shibisu didn't know about the fake thorn that made Bomb a lot stronger physically, and to Shibisu's credit, there really wouldn't be any way for him to know about that. And finally, with all these points being made about Shibisu and Khun, the final category that I think tips the scales in this very even battle of wits is intel, which would go to Khun Aguero Agnis for the simple fact that he is part of the 10 great families while Shibisu is not. And this category is actually super important in the tower, as information is one of the most essential things in my opinion. We see this clearly demonstrated in the story when in the Battle of the Nest, White asked Khun how he knew that Jihad's army would respond how they did, and Khun just says that he is used to seeing the battle tactics of the 10 great families, which is to send many lower tier enemies first to weaken strong foes, since they will always have the number advantage, and then the high rankers come out later. This information is super useful for making plans, and Shibisu is just a person that was born in the tower and wouldn't be informed on any of the bigger moves of the families, at least to the level of somebody from one of those families. And again, like I have been repeating throughout this entire video, this is not to take away anything from Shibisu, because to be honest, since this is the point that turned this battle in Khun's favor, it actually goes to highlight Shibisu's genius, since he is still able to match Khun at every step of the way, even with his inferior knowledge of the tower compared to Khun. But no matter how close this battle may have been, the winner of this fight by a hair is Khun Aguero Agnis. So yeah, that's the whole video, and I hope you guys really liked it. It's a video that I've been trying to do for a while, and if you guys don't agree with it, that's completely fine. As I said, this battle is really even in my opinion, and just comes down to a hair's difference. So yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and remember, I'm always here to tell you the truth, and if the truth is not always explained, I'm going to give you guys my opinion on the truth. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.